All right, so sorry guys. I've been on so long that it just knocked me off. I only really get an hour and it was really forgiving, I guess. But back to the parasympathetic nervous system. It has relaxing effects, secretes acetylcholine, and that slows the heart and speeds digestion. So that's where we like to be. We like to be activating that parasympathetic autonomic system. Parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. This supports the body's functions so that they conserve and restore body energy during rest and recovery. And there are 5 parasympathetic responses using the acronym SLUD. Salivation, lacrimation, that's reduction of or secretion of tears, urination, digestion, and defecation. 3 decreased responses are decreased heart rate, reduction in diameter of airways, and constriction of pupils. The sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, this favors body functions that support physical activities and reduces body functions that store energy. It includes physical exertion as well as emotional responses such as stress. And the sympathetic E situations are exercise, emergency, excitement, and embarrassment. And you don't want to stay in a state of emergency all the time. In this fight or flight, you can get adrenal fatigue and it can just wear you out. So let's talk about specific nerve disorders and neurological diseases. Nerve disorders involve the peripheral or surface nerves like neuralgia, neuritis, neuropathies, Bell's palsy, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Neurological diseases are associated with disturbances in the brain, like ALS or Lou Gehrig's, MS or multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's disease. So you can see there are nerve disorders and there are neurological diseases. Whenever you have a neurological either disorder or disease, especially multiple sclerosis, to reduce pain and inflammation, never use hot packs or hot compresses or heating pads. Always use cold packs for any nerve problems to reduce pain and inflammation while reducing the temperature of that damaged site. This is something really important to remember. So when we do raindrop technique on people with ALS or multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's, we never use hot towels. You can put a cold pack on them after their raindrop if you choose to do that. Okay, let's talk about neuropathy. This is peripheral nerve damage. So there is nerve damage, and that's what happens when you get neuropathy. You have damage. The symptoms are tingling. You'll get a numbness in your hands or your feet. And it will spread to your limbs, and it can spread to your trunk. The nerve damage may start out in the bottom of your feet, but it can move up your legs. The causes of neuropathy are complications from diabetes. They can also be alcoholism, vitamin B12 deficiencies. Painkillers can cause neuropathy, and exposure and absorption of chemicals can cause neuropathy. So our recommendation is to boost the production of pregnenolone and human growth hormone in the body, because this will cause healing of the nerves. Healing of the nerves. Neuralgia, on the other hand, is pain from damaged nerves. So it's not a tingling, it's not a numbness, it's nerve pain. And it's going to be temporarily sharp in the peripheral nerves. It may include some numbness or lack of feeling in that affected area, but you're going to feel a sharp pain. The causes are inflammation due to injury or autoimmune diseases such as lupus or Guillain-Barré syndrome. Our recommendations are applying an anti-inflammatory essential oil straight up, that's neat, or you can dilute it if you have sensitive skin or very thin skin to the affected area 3 to 4 times a day, and then place a cold compress on that location 2 to 3 times a day. And I will get into the specific oils that we recommend for those kinds of, for that kind of pain and injury. Neuritis is inflammation of the peripheral nerves. And the symptoms, of course, are pain and burning, numbness or tingling, muscle weakness, or even paralysis. The causes are exposure to cold temperatures like frostbite, heavy metal poisoning, diabetes, vitamin deficiency, and infectious diseases. Bell's palsy is actually a type of neuritis and can be caused by any of those things. But we can get rid of Bell's palsy very, very quickly. It's temporary. Let's talk about multiple sclerosis in particular. This is an autoimmune disease. It's a progressive disease of the central nervous system, and it destroys the myelin sheath that surrounds the nerve fibers of the brain, the spinal cord, and the optic nerves. So it's the covering of these nerves. It's the sheath. Multiple sclerosis causes an interruption of transmission of nerve impulses throughout the body. So what happens is the nerve impulses become impaired, and it can't have that nerve to nerve, that neuron to neuron communication that we were talking about earlier, particularly in pathways involved with vision, sensation, and movement. So the symptoms are going to be muscle weakness in the extremities, deterioration in coordination and balance, deteriorating coordination and balance, numbness or prickly sensation, poor attention or memory, speech impediments, incontinence, dizziness, and hearing loss. Cold baths and relaxed swimming are two of the best activities for relieving these symptoms. For severe symptoms, lower the body temperature and receive a raindrop technique with essential oils. So raindrop is very, very helpful in any kind of nerve issue. Raindrop is really good for shingles because shingles is a virus that loves to follow a nerve pathway. Okay, so Lou Gehrig's or ALS, this is a degenerative nerve disorder. It affects nerve fibers in the spinal cord, which control voluntary movement. It does not affect the senses, the sight, the smell, the taste, the hearing, or the touch. It does not affect bladder or bowel function or the person's ability to think or reason. I've known people with ALS, and it seems like they're not with us, but they understand everything. It's just that they cannot speak back to us because they have difficulty breathing, difficulty swallowing. They're going to not be able to hold their head up. It's going to drop due to a weak spinal cord and neck muscles. They'll have muscle cramps, muscle weakness, paralysis, speech problems such as slow or abnormal speech patterns. Usually they have to be strapped into a wheelchair so that they can even stay upright at all. The normal voice, the voice changes, it becomes very hoarse, and they might have drooling, muscle spasms, muscle contractions, and weight loss. Parkinson's, the deterioration of specific nerve centers in the brain affects more men than women, 3 to 2. There's no pain or other sensation other than decreased ability to move. The symptoms appear slowly and in no particular order. So you'll start with tremors, and this can be involuntary shaking of the hands. Then it might go to the head or both. You might see rigidity, slow movement, and loss of balance, possible stooped posture, trouble swallowing, depression, and difficulty performing small tasks. Restoring dopamine levels in the brain can reduce symptoms, and Sulfurzyme, a Young Living product, provides a source of organic sulfur, which is a vital nutrient for nerve and myelin sheath formation. So most definitely Sulfurzyme is part of multiple sclerosis support. The effects of food additives and excitotoxins on the brain are nothing less than dramatic and traumatic. Excitotoxins are substances such as artificial sweeteners like aspartame. Aspartame is in every type of chewing gum on the market today. It is also found in pretty much every diet soda on the market today. Aspartame reacts with specialized receptors in the brain in such a way as to lead to the destruction of certain type of brain cells. Also, glutamate is one of the more commonly known excitotoxins, and this is in MSG. MSG is the sodium salt of glutamate, and it's found in packaged foods, pre-made, pre-mixed foods to enhance flavor. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, is an excitotoxin on the brain, and both aspartame and MSG have been shown to cause seizures in people, in really sensitive people. There is a strong connection between dietary excitotoxin excess and neurological dysfunctions and disease. And a lot of times it's because of using these excitotoxins for many years, drinking diet soda for 45 years, using MSG. Used to have a product out called Accent. I don't know if it's still out, pure MSG. And people would literally sprinkle it on their meats and in their foods to enhance the flavor, and this can cause brain damage. Chronic elevations of blood glutamate can breach the intact blood-brain barrier, and numerous conditions can leave the barrier incompetent. Over 100 million Americans now consume products containing one or more excitotoxins, which go by over 40 different names. Excitotoxin injury is of special concern from the fetal stage to adolescence during the critical period of brain formation. Aging and free radical activity magnify the increased susceptibility to excitotoxin damage. So the older you are, the more MSG and aspartame can affect your brain. Nervous system is significantly weakened and made more susceptible to further excitotoxin injury. So here are some products that have aspartame and MSG in them. These are just a few. You have to learn to be a label reader. And I highly recommend that you listen to Sarah Harnish's Kick Toxic Chemicals to the Curb. You can find it under oilability.com. It's free to listen to, and it's under share, the tab share, and you'll see an oils 101 class, and then you'll see a toxic chemical class. Please listen to that if you haven't already received a CD of that from me. So just go out to oilability.com. Here, we're going to talk about the therapeutic grade essential oils and applications that can help with supporting the nervous system. If you know anyone who has Parkinson's, then you need to learn the neuroauricular technique so that you can give them this, so you can do this technique on them. I can teach you how to do the neuroauricular technique, but it's easier to do it in a class by itself. This technique was originated by D. Gary Young, and an auricular probe is recommended, but you can use a rounded dropper from a dropper bottle because it has a glass tip on it. The neuroauricular technique is suitable for stimulating the area of the vagus nerve complex, which is along the occipital ridge or the base of the skull and the cervical vertebrae of the spine. So you're going to go down from the that little divot in the back of the skull down about 6 inches. That's the cervical vertebra of the spine or the back of the neck. The vagus nerve complex is the largest nerve bundle affecting the physiological reactions of fight, flight, often called stress. It was originally developed to treat Parkinson's disease, but it's now being used for people and animals in crisis, for trauma, and for people with PTSD. There are 6 oils that are used in an easy to learn 7-step procedure to offer a deep level of stress reduction. The oil sequence is frankincense. You put it along the occipital ridge, you put 3 drops, and then you use the auricular probe to kind of massage them in along the occipital ridge. And then you'll go down on either side of the vertebra 6 inches down with frankincense and the neuroauricular probe. Again, I can teach you this in a separate class. We just have to know if there is a desire to learn this. Valerian is the 2nd oil in the sequence. Vetiver is the 3rd oil in the sequence. Then it's Roman chamomile, cedarwood, and sandalwood. I've also used deep relief in the sequence, and all of these help stimulate that area of the vagus nerve. And we have found that people with Parkinson's sleep better, and it has been able to check the tremors to some degree. It may not take them completely away, but it does help with better brain function with this technique. Okay, so let's talk about frankincense specific. It supports growth hormone production. And you heard me say that to support the nerve health, we need to support hormone production, growth hormone production in particular. It alleviates depression, it promotes relaxation, and reduces inflammation. The very best thing to do with frankincense is to anoint your head with oil on a daily basis. I start out my day by anointing my head, the crown of my head, with 2 to 4 drops of frankincense. And I do not have neurological disorders. However, my goal is not to ever have neurological disorders. So I just do it on a daily basis. You can also put it on your VitaFlex points, which are on the bottom of the feet and are depicted in your essential oils desk reference. If you don't have a desk reference, you can get it from discoverlsp.com, and it is the Bible of oils. You can also use frankincense as a dietary supplement. You dilute 1 drop in 4 drops of V6 or olive oil and put it in a capsule and take 1 before each meal. Roman chamomile is a nerve generator. Very, very good for neuritis and for neuropathies and for any neurological disorders. It's anti-inflammatory, so it calms the nerves. It's an anesthetic. It helps to combat nervousness as well. And again, you can apply 2 to 4 drops on location. You can put it on your ankles, on your wrists, on VitaFlex points. directly inhale it or diffuse it or take it as a dietary supplement. What you're going to find, what I teach is that all we want to do is get this oil into the bloodstream. We need to get it into the bloodstream. So any way that you can get it into the body, whether it's rubbing it on, breathing it in, or taking it internally, we want to do that. And of course, breathing it in, it's going to go in the lungs. You're going to get small amounts of aromatic molecules. So rubbing it on the body, you can get more. You can get more. And taking it internally, you can take a lot. I take sometimes 20 drops of oil in a capsule, especially if something, you know, I'm trying to ward off something or combat something. I will take a large amount of oil in capsules and find it that gets into the bloodstream very quickly. Peppermint is an awesome oil because it is anti-inflammatory, but it is also analgesic, so it helps with pain. And that's why I like Panaway so much, and I think that's going to come up because it has, you know, nerve oils in it and analgesic effect and anti-inflammatory effect. And peppermint stimulates the brain. So again, you can dilute 1 part with vegetable oil. You can apply it on location. You can put it on meat that's straight without diluting it. But always avoid contact with the eyes. You don't want to get peppermint in the eyes, or even, you know, straight maybe on the mucous membranes. Although I've been known to put peppermint right up my nose and take peppermint in my water, and breathe peppermint right out of the diffuser. It could burn with fresh wounds or burns, so be careful with that. But it is a great oil for the nervous system. And here is Heliochrysum. This literally regenerates nerves. It can regenerate the synapse between the neurons and the dendrites. That is a pretty heavy duty claim, but it's been shown over and over again. Heliochrysum is also very good for tinnitus and for people who have lost their hearing because of nerve damage. And if I do the NAT class, the neuro-auricular technique class, I will add how to use Heliochrysum with hearing loss through nerve damage. So we'll show how to do that as well. It chelates chemicals and toxins. That's why you're going to find it in our liver supporting blends like Juva Cleanse and Juva Flex, because it has the ability to chelate heavy metals from the liver and, you know, in the bloodstream and the brain. We can get heavy metals in the brain. So again, apply this on location. The VitaFlex points, you can directly inhale it or diffuse it or take it as a dietary supplement. Rosemary is really good for the brain, for improving mental clarity. It boosts alertness and it helps to overcome mental fatigue. It actually amplifies the mental ability. I use rosemary or the blend clarity when I've got to do some heavy duty thinking, like if I'm doing my taxes or if I'm creating a new class for you guys, or I'm studying. Rosemary or clarity are 2 of my favorite oils to do that. Wintergreen, highly anti-inflammatory, and it's a topical analgesic, so it's really soothing to nerve pain. You'll also find this in the raindrop technique kit. And so again, going back to shingles, shingles is a virus that follows a nerve pathway. Wintergreen will help in the reduction of pain, but also the antiviral oils that are in the raindrop technique kit will help to get that virus at bay. You can dilute it. We put it on straight during a raindrop technique. You can put it on a location. I know how a lot of people put it on the bottom of their feet if they have neuropathy or neuritis. anywhere that you have these issues, use wintergreen. It's very, very good. And you can take it as a dietary supplement. If you have epileptic seizures, it may be a little too stimulating. It does have anticoagulant properties and can be enhanced when used with blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin. So our goal, of course, is to get you off of pharmaceuticals. If you're on a blood thinner because you've had a stroke or whatever, work with your doctor so that you can use your essential oils. It's just a much nicer, gentler way to treat the body. Lavender is also anti-inflammatory, and it helps to relieve nervous tension. It improves mental acuity and increases beta waves in the brain. It also helps reduce mental stress. So it's going to address that fight or flight. It's going to support the sympathetic nervous system. It alleviates depression, and you can inhale this with your diffuser. You can apply it on location. You can rub it on the bottom of your feet, and you can take lavender as a dietary supplement as well. Valor is very grounding, and it also promotes feelings of self-control. It's strengthening to the muscular skeletal system, but also to the nervous system. It helps to overcome anger and negative emotions. It opens and releases emotional blocks. It stimulates the limbic part of the brain and alleviates feelings of stress and despair. A great place to put this is on the insides of your wrist. Put a couple of drops and then rub your wrist together. Hold your wrists for about 15 seconds. This is a great way to begin to calm down. And it also helps to combat the stress that's related to, being in front of a computer too much. It has a way of calming those electromagnetic frequencies in the brain. And electromagnetic frequencies can tend to brain tumors if we don't calm them down. You can also put it at the base of the skull, bottom of the feet, along the spine. We do use Valor in the raindrop technique. It's the very first oil that we use. And when using a series of oils, always use Valor first, and then wait 5 to 10 minutes before applying the other oils. You can dilute it with vegetable oil, and use it for a body massage, but it does have some sweet almond oil already in it, so it is diluted already. It has oil of camphor. It no longer has rosewood because rosewood it's gone. We just can't get it. It's extinct. It has blue tansy in it. It has frankincense and spruce in a carrier oil of sweet almond, like I mentioned. So here is your go-to if you have neuropathy or even neuritis, because this reduces inflammation. It has analgesic properties, both from the clove oil that's in it and from the peppermint oil. The wintergreen and the peppermint are what are reducing the inflammation. It's strongly anti-inflammatory, and it's a great, powerful pain blocker. But it's that Heliochrysum that is going to heal nerve damage. That is the kicker right there. And to put all these oils together in one blend, it doesn't get any better than this, as far as I know, for nerve damage. Why will it? For some reason, it tells me that my class is going to end in another 10 minutes. I don't understand. Something's wrong with my Zoom, I think. Okay, so the next oil that I really recommend, especially for muscle issues, and then this is going to calm the nerves around that muscle, is Aroma Seed. It too is anti-inflammatory. It calms the nerves. It has significant analgesic properties. I use Aroma Seed in my tub after I've been working out in the yard all day, because of all the twisting and turning and the up and down, I need Aroma Seed to just relieve any discomfort that I have in my body. You can dilute it. It's part of the raindrop technique again. I put about 10 to 20 drops in a cup of Epsom salts and put it in my bath and soak. And it is a lifesaver. It relieves stress. It is just one of the oils that I would never be without. Oil blends. Deep relief really works well too for neuropathy, neuritis, neuralgia, all of these nerve-related issues, because it can calm those stressed nerves, reduce inflammation around the nerve, provide pain relief. And like I mentioned earlier, this is great to use with the neuroauricular technique. Apply generously on location every 15 minutes, especially if you have that sharp nerve pain. And look why it works so well. It contains the oil of peppermint, lemon, Idaho balsam fir, copaiba, clove, wintergreen, heliochrysum, vetiver, and palo santo in fractionated and virgin coconut oil. Clarity I was talking about earlier. I like it when I really need mental clarity because it promotes a clear mind. It amplifies mental alertness and improves brain activity and vitality. It has rosemary in it. It has peppermint in it. It's anti-inflammatory. It revitalizes the nervous system and it alleviates mental fatigue. Somebody had a headache the other day and I put clarity on them and it helped immensely. I mean, she didn't have a headache after about 2 or 3 minutes. So you can dilute it. If you want, you can diffuse it. That's the way I like to do it. I like to breathe it in, but I put it on her temples and on the back of her neck. Or you can add it to bath water if you're taking a morning bath because you're going to get that mental clarity for the day. You can apply it to the edge of the ears, around the edges of the ears, the wrists, the neck, the temples, the forehead, or the brain, which is depicted by the Vitaflex point of the big toe. And here's Brain Power. This is a blend that it promotes deep concentration. The oils in here are high in sesquiterpenes, so they pass the blood-brain barrier. They can help with, people who have had strokes, brain tumors. This is an incredibly powerful oil blend. Increases mental clarity, helps to clean nerve receptor sites. It alleviates brain fog, and it's very, very beneficial for neuralgia in particular. You can diffuse it, but I would apply it to the brain stem, the occipital ridge of the brain, the back of the head. You can anoint your head with Brain Power. It has sandalwood, it has vetiver, cedarwood, frankincense, all of the brain oils, all the biblical oils too. It's really, really powerful. Okay, what supplements that Young Living provides us will help with nerve damage or nerve issues or the nervous system, supporting the nervous system? I mentioned Sulfurzyme for multiple sclerosis. This is incredible. This is the natural solution for pain. It supports every major function of the body. It combats autoimmune diseases. It alleviates pain associated with inflammation, especially with rheumatoid arthritis, but it's very good for osteo as well. It says to take 2 capsules 2 times a day. I'm telling you, I take 8 in the morning and 8 at night. I love Sulfurzyme. It just helps with everything in the body. You can get the powder. I think it's out of stock right now, but then I always use a heaping teaspoon and I put it in my Ningxia Red. Or you can take it 2 times a day, 1 hour before or after meals. I just put it in my Ningxia Red in the morning if I have the powder. In fact, I'm almost out of my capsules And I have a bottle of the powder as my backup here in my trailer, in my fifth wheel. So I'll be using my powder here in no time because I really go through a lot of Sulfurzyme. Omega Gize is really also supports brain function. Our brain is made of cholesterol and fat, and we need the CoQ10 for our heart. We need the fish oil for our brain. It's also got vitamin D in it. Young Living has a Super D that is a vegan D. I love it. I absolutely love it. D is good for every part of the brain and body as well. But Omega Gize is really great for fortifying and strengthening the body. It's a powerful natural antioxidant. It is imperative to use this in cases of neuralgia. You can take you can take 3 of the capsules up to 3 times a day. So that's 9 a day. They're very small, but you cannot get too much really of the vitamin D, CoQ10, and the omega-3s. Feed the brain. Super B is critical for nerve function. Critical. Because this is what actually helps support the cell-to-cell or neuron-to-neuron dendrite to neuron dendrites communication. It also supports proper action of growth hormones, and we talked about how important that was in nerve health or nervous system health. It's really important during times of stress. You can take a half to 1 tablet daily. I have many people in my organization take 2 daily. And if I've been under a lot of stress, I'll take 2 a day. Super C, these are also really good supplements to take during times of pandemic or what we call plague. It prevents premature aging. It's a potent antioxidant, and it's crucial for proper action of growth hormones. And you know that growth hormones are important for nerve regeneration. Take it during physical stress, or if you use alcohol. If you smoke, this is a certain thing that you need to take because smoking causes a deterioration of vitamin C in the body. Certain medications may lower the blood levels of this essential vitamin, and it's water soluble. So if you take too much, you're just going to pee it out. Take lots of vitamin C. Take 1 to 2 tablets daily. And ours are something like 256,000 units, I think, which is really powerful, and we need this kind of vitamin C right now. Mineral Essence is an ionic mineral complex. It's really good for things like restless leg, which is a mineral deficiency, and it causes nerve issues. It balances the electrolytes. It helps prevent disease and aging, and it's necessary for proper immune and metabolic function. It's required for vitamin assimilation and absorption. I would not be without it. I did three dropperfuls 3 times a day, and in 3 days, my restless leg syndrome was gone. And this was 22 years ago when I first got into Young Living. So Mineral Essence is a must-have in my refrigerator. Once you open it, it needs to be refrigerated. You can take it in really cold water, and it doesn't taste too bad. You can put it in your tincture